back to equilibrium. So if there's any kind of distortion or any kind of disequilibrium, that's just temporary, right? Okay. Now today we actually talk about what would happen, if there is a change in the money supply. Okay. Now the figure that I have, all of you please take a look at the figure. The first quadrant, as usual, gives us the production function. Okay. The figure below gives us the labor market. Fine. And the next figure, that is the figure C, this figure then gives us the money supply. And the last figure, that is figure D, this figure gives us what? It gives us the money wage. All right. Now, see, what happens is, suppose the money wage, now look at the figure D, girls, first. Okay, suppose the money wage is increased. Initially, the money wage is W by P1. Okay, that is your real wage. Now, suppose your money wage is increased to W2. Okay, so when the money wage rises to W2 at the given level of prices, which is the original price P1, what will happen to the real wage? Shriya, if the money wage is raised, keeping the price level same, what will happen to the real wage? Come on, I want an answer.
It will increase.
Ma'am, it will increase.
It will
Increase.
increase. Who's saying decrease? It will increase because the money wage has gone up, W upon P. So if the value of W goes up without changing the value for P, the real wage will increase, right? Okay, so the real wage will increase. If you look at your figure, you have W. You look at figure B in the figure, all right, and above W upon P, where I have missed writing W upon P2. Okay, are you getting it, girls?
No,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Look at B. All right, figure B, you have W upon P1. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then you see a dotted line above that. That is the line where you have W upon P2. I missed out that.
Okay,
So
ma'am.
please,
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
when you draw it, okay. So what is happening is that since the money wage has gone up, with the prices being kept constant, the real wage increases. Now, with the increase in the real wage, what is going to happen? The supply of labor will yes
Increase.
increase right. More people will be willing to work at a higher wage, no? So the supply of labor will increase. Okay. So, but the wages have gone up without increase in labor productivity. As a result, what is going to happen? The output is going to decline. Okay. And also, as a result, the employment is also going to decline. So you have N1 written, and then there's a line next to N1, which will be N2. Look at figure A, you have N1 written, and you have another line close to N1. Okay, and that is N2.
Yes.
Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you getting it? So the employment is going to fall. Is that clear, girls?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Who's that? Fine.
Yes, ma'am.
So, yeah. Acha, now, girls, is another very significant thing about the classical theory, and that is that in the classical theory, we are saying that the wages are flexible. In fact, it is this flexibility of the wages and the prices that we are able to restore equilibrium, right? Now, another thing is that we now are going to look into the effectiveness of the monetary policy. Okay. Now, under the classical setup, we say that the monetary policy is actually very effective in trying to, bring equilibrium in the economy. How? Now, let me tell you. Now, suppose the wages more, right? We've already said that the money wages gone up. All right. Now, this is also a point where Keynes has strongly criticized the classical economy. All right. According to Keynes, the wages are rigid downwards. Now, what does this mean? The wages are rigid downwards means that the wages cannot go down. Okay. Nobody actually would prefer to, if somebody is earning 20,000 rupees a month, nobody would want to work at 18,000 a month now. All right. So once you have a set wage, you cannot think in terms of a wage decline, right? So what you say is that wages, they are rigid downwards, okay? But they are flexible upwards because everybody is very open to, a wage rise. Are you getting this point, girls, or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Clear? Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So according
Yes,
to
ma'am.
the classical, yeah. So according to the classical
ma'am.
economist, knows this. Okay, I'm repeating what I said. See, according to the classical economists, what we say is that the wages are flexible downwards. Okay, which means you can reduce them and you can get back to the equilibrium level. But according to Keynes, what you actually see is that wages are rigid. Rigid means what? They cannot, nobody's happy with the decline in the wages. All right. More so when you have trade unions and you have minimum wage laws, right? So wages, once you have a certain level of wages, you cannot bring them down. All right. But you are very much open to what is called as a wage rise. Everybody is open to that. So according to Keynes, who has criticized this point, according to him, he says that the wages are rigid downwards. Okay, because nobody wants a wage cut. Is that clear? Is that clear, girls?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Fine. Okay, okay. So now what I'm saying is that how the monetary, coming to the monetary policy and its effectiveness. Now the classical economists, they had faith in the monetary policy, right? So they said the monetary policy will work towards correcting any kind of, disequilibrium that may exist in the economy. You remember we talked about MV is equal to PQ? MV is equal to PQ.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
What is
Yes,
M?
ma'am.
All right, I want the answers from you now. What is M?
Ma'am, quantity of money.
Velocity of money.
V.
And P is the price level and Q is the
Volume of goods and services.
volume of goods and services. Yeah, volume of the goods traded. So MV is equal to PQ. This is the equation, right? Now, the monetary policy, how it works. Now, what they say is that if you increase the money supply in the economy, so what we are doing, we are increasing money supply in the economy. All right. Now, if you look at this equation, MV is equal to PQ. I told you that V and Q are taken as what? Constant. All right. So yes, very good. So if there is any increase in the money supply, it will have a direct effect on the prices. So if the money supply increases, the prices will also increase.
Ma'am, your voice
Clear?
is breaking.
Okay. I think these are internet glitches. We really can't help. But okay, I repeat again. See, so when you have this equation where we are saying MV is equal to PQ, where we said that V is a constant and even Q is a constant, the relation now is between what? Between M and
P.
P. Okay. So, between M and P, M is what? The money supply. So if you increase the money supply, yes, if you increase the money supply in the economy, it is going to have a direct effect or a relation on what? P, that is the price, right?
Price.
So the increase, so the increase in the money supply will result in a proportionate increase in the prices. Okay. All right. So what happens is that we said there is an increase in the prices, and as a result, the economy is again brought back to equilibrium. Okay, so it is the flexibility in the wages and the prices which brings the economy back to the equilibrium. Are you clear with this part, girls?
Yes, ma'am.
This is a very significant feature of the classical. Yeah, this is a very significant feature of the classical economy, that the prices and the wages are flexible, and it is this flexibility of the wages and the prices which brings the economy back to equilibrium. Remember, in the very beginning, I said, I said that the role of the government is very, it's minimal. All right, because of the policy of laissez-faire which is being adopted here. The role of the government, that means what? It is the market forces of demand and supply which bring the economy back to the equilibrium. Is that fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So this is about, and another thing that is very, very significant as far as the classical economy is concerned, that is, there's something known as classical dichotomy. Okay, now I'm going to talk about some variables. Now, if you have been following what we've been doing, the different variables that we've talked about are what? We've talked about output, we've talked about employment, we've talked about the real wage rate, we've talked about the prices, we've talked about wages, money wages. These are the different variables. Okay, now changes, now listen very carefully, changes in the money supply do not affect the real variables. All right. I'm repeating once again, changes in the money supply do not affect the real variables. Okay, now what are the real variables? The real variables here are your output, your level of employment. Okay, these are the real variable savings, the investments. They are known as the real variables, which means that if you bring about any change in the money supply, it is not going to affect the real variables. Only the nominal variables will be affected. What are the nominal variables? Nominal variables are the prices and the money wage. All right, and this phenomenon is known as classical dichotomy. What is dichotomy? Dual. There is,
Ma'am, what are nominal variables?
Ma'am,
Money-
two thinking on a single topic.
What?
Ma'am, two ways of thinking on a single topic is known as
dichotomy. No, yeah. So here again, you see what is happening. Yeah, somebody has very well put up the picture for me to see as well. See, if there's a change in the money supply from the M1V curve, you're moving to M2V curve. So there's a change in the money supply, and as a result of this change, girls, what's happening? You please observe. What is observed? That the changes take place only nominal variables. These nominal variables, they are your prices and your money wage. Okay. The other variables, that is your output, your level of employment in the economy, and the real wage do not change. So I'm repeating once again, changes in the money supply do not affect the real variables. Okay, only the money variables are, the nominal variables are affected, which is your prices and your money wages. Clear?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
This is a very significant aspect of the classical theory. So maybe for a short note of anything, they can ask you what is the meaning of classical dichotomy. Okay. But I hope you are now very clear with what are real variables and what are nominal variables. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Your output, your employment, that's the level of employment, the real wages, these are not affected by any change in the money supply. Are you clear with this? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Could you please explain why will it not affect the real variables again?
See, I'll make another figure and send to you so that you can understand better. It is not a question of why they don't affect. It is a fact that they don't affect. Okay, that is how the classical economy works. Okay, the same four quadrants. Now, in your exams, girls, normally you will get a question like critically examine the classical theory. So, wherein you don't have to discuss the changes in the supply for labor or, the change in the demand for labor curve or the change in the production function or even the changes in the money supply. You don't have to individually draw these figures. This is for your understanding that if there is any kind of disequilibrium in the economy, the how things change to bring the economy back to equilibrium. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, we don't have
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
examination. Excuse me, ma'am.
Hmm?
Ma'am,
Yes.
all these figures in
Shreya,
examination.
no, I'm not getting you. Can you write in the chat box?
I'm saying that then we don't have to draw these figures in the examination. We just have to
No,
write about these figures.
no, Shreya, I'm telling you. I'll tell you how to attempt your answer. Let's finish this once and then I'll tell you what is expected in your answer. Okay. See, you will not even get a question like explain the changes. You know, if there is, suppose the supply curve of labor changes or there's a change in the demand for labor, you're not going to get anything like that. Your question likely would be, if it's a long question, critically examine the classical theory of employment, right? So you will explain this the four quadrants, but the simple figures, without the changes. You will explain the production function. You will explain the labor market. You will explain the quantity theory. You will explain the fourth quadrant, that is D. All right.
Please go a
You
little
will,
slower.
yes.
Ma'am, please go a little slower and repeat what has to be included in the answer.
Ishika, I'm not getting you because again your voice is breaking. So it would be better if you just write in the chat box.
Be included in the answer.
Ma'am, I think they can ask some directly questions.
Direct questions in what sense? See, actually, girls, see, we do not know right now. Ideally, had it been a normal year, no COVID problem, you would have got a long question. Okay, that's how it is. Semester 1, 3, and 5, you have long questions. Semester 2, 4, and 6, you get MCQs, right? So, but given conditions, we don't know what's going to be the nature of your exam. Suppose it is a long question, it's going to be of this nature. But you could get MCQs. I don't know what's going to be the pattern like. We'll get to know about this. Um, so in that case, if it's a long question, you really have to first explain. You start with who the classical economists are, then you talk about the assumptions of classical economy, and then you explain the simple classical model where you draw these four quadrants. The first quadrant, you're talking about the production function. The second quadrant, you're talking about the labor market. The third quadrant, you're talking about the MB curve. And the fourth quadrant, where you're showing the answer, you will also include the saving, which we will come to once we get over with this. The next thing we talk about is the savings investment equality. Okay. But can I hope that we are clear with this? Are you clear with this so far?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So it is some
Ma'am, can you please give the
with all
brief
those four
again?
quadrants. I give you what?
Ma'am, brief of 4 quadrants because I was late for the class.
Yes.
My network was
Yes.
not
All right.
there.
Okay. The first quadrant that we have is the production function. All right. And remember, girls, I told you that the production function is what? Q is a function of the labor, the capital, and technology. And so for our purpose, we are assuming that capital, we're keeping them constant, capital and technology. So essentially, we are saying it's a function of labor. Now, on the x-axis, we have we've employment on the x-axis. On the y-axis, we've got the aggregate output. All right. And then, of course, Q is a output function. The quadrant B that we have, in this quadrant, you have the supply of labor curve, which is an upward sloping curve, which has got a positive slope. And you have the demand for labor curve, which is a negative slope, right? A curve with a negative slope. And the point where the two intersect shows the equilibrium in the labor market. And it gives us the regular employment, which we are denoting here as N1, and the wage rate on the y-axis, which is W upon P1. Clear? The third quadrant, that is your quadrant C, here you have what? The money supply. This is here you have a curve showing the money supply. MB is your money supply. And the last quadrant, that is D, here you have the money wage on the y-axis and you have the price level on the x-axis. Okay. So a simple model is what you need to know. And the changes, you saw the previous class, we saw the changes in the supply curve or the demand curve for labor and how the economy got back to equilibrium. Okay, that is for your understanding. Okay, and most importantly, girls, classical dichotomy. All right, please, you need to really know what is classical dichotomy. That changes in the money supply do not affect the real variables. And what are the real variables here? It is the level of employment, the output here, the real wages. They are not affected by the changes in the money supply. Changes in the money supply bring about, I mean, they have an effect on what? Have an effect on the price level and on the money wage. Okay, is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
coming to this figure, which I'm going to click, and again I'm going to send it to Mansi and she can share it. Okay.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, Mansi.
Ma'am, you sent me two figures. The other
Yeah, the
one,
other figure is about the savings and investments, which we'll talk about a little later. Okay.
okay. Oh,
So you can share this after I finish with this.
alright.
All right. So I'm just taking. Oh God, how do I click? I'll have to leave the meeting over. My phone, girls. So
No, ma'am, you will be able to do it directly. Like you can just open your camera and
huh?
click it. Ma'am, you don't need to
I
leave the
don't.
meeting for that.
How do I get to the camera?
Uh,
Wait.
uh,
Okay. See, there's a circle in the center. No. Just press the circle, and
yes,
I'll probably go to my.
yes, ma'am.
Okay. 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 All right. I've sent it to Mansi again. And Mansi, can you please share it with the. Mansi, have you received the picture? Mansi,
Is that visible? Ma'am, I've shared. Is that visible? Just
you've
a
got
second.
it, no?
Yes, ma'am, I've got it.
No, the new one that I've just sent you right now. The one that I've sent you right now, Mansi.
Ma'am, it's this one.
4 quadrants.
Yes, ma'am.
Please share it.
Ma'am, I've shared. Is that visible?
I don't know. Ask the
It is
others.
very
Share, is
blurred.
it
No, ma'am,
visible?
it's not visible.
Oh,
Mansi,
goodness.
reshare it.
Okay.
Reshare your screen.
It's again 4 quadrants, girls. Not clear?
Ma'am, she's resharing it.
Okay, let's see. I hope it's clear. Why, it's pretty clear, girls. Was not clear?
Yes, ma'am.
See, so what's happening here in the first quadrant? Just focus on this. The first one is giving you the production function, right? So where Q1 is your output and N1 is the level of employment. In the second quadrant, we have the labor market. All right, so you have N1 and W upon P1. Okay. Any problem till this point?
No, ma'am.
Okay,
Please
so the
repeat once
third
again.
quadrant, you have M1V is your initial money supply, and it has now increased. So the money supply curve shifts upwards, and you have M2V as your new curve, right? Okay. And as a result, what do you see? That the price level earlier was P1 and now it has become P2. Okay. But your output level is still Q1. Okay. And if you look into your fourth quadrant, you observe that your money wage has also gone up from W1 to W2. Okay.
Ma'am, please repeat once again.
See, the if you look at the figures on the left hand, girls, you do not see any change in Q, you do not see any change in N, and you do not see any change in W upon P1, right? Which means that there's no change in the output, there's no change in employment, and there's no change in the real wage. Okay.
Yes,
If you look
ma'am.
at the figures on the right hand side, there's a change in P. Prices have gone up from P1 to P2, and there's a change in the money wage. So you have your money wage, which has gone up from W1 to W2. Right? This is what is classical dichotomy. Changes in the money supply do not affect the real variables, and therefore employment, output, and real wage have not changed at all. And the nominal variables, which is your price and your money wage, there's a change here. So you have your prices have increased from P1 to P2, and your money wage has increased from W1 to W2. Yes?
Yes, ma'am, it is clear.
Clear? You got this part, Nancy and the others?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
this is dichotomy that is girls. Okay. So when you get a question, girls, you don't have to draw and show all of this. You don't have to show all these changes. You just have to draw a simple four quadrant figure without changes. You just have to explain the product market. I mean the production function. You have to explain the labor market, the money supply, and the this thing, money, wage, and prices. So you just draw this. That is a simple classical model. And you can now also, there's something more which I want to talk about, and that is, it changes in the wages. Okay, how actually we observe that W upon P1 is the normal wage. And suppose if there is an increase in the real wage, then the market functions in such a way to bring this back to the equilibrium level. If the wage rate is below WP1, okay, then again the forces of the market will see that it is brought back to the equilibrium level. All right. So it is the flexibility of the prices and the wage rate which brings about the economy back to equilibrium in the classical model. Fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is what we do today, and we stop here.